Hello, beautiful Aquarius. My name is Ivona Rose. Welcome to my channel, Rose Healing Light. Thank you for being here. I'm really happy. I'm really glad that you are here, that you stopped by to watch my videos. This will be a reading with spiritual guidance for the sign of Aquarius and for the month of December 2022. And it will apply for your sun sign. So if you have a sun in Aquarius, or your moon, or your rising sign, also for Venus. And you can also watch it for any placements that you have Aquarius in your chart, if you know that too. Yeah, I also like just to let you know, I work and I connect with the angels and archangels when I do the readings as well. So I've already asked Archangel Metatron and Archangel Michael to stay with us and also to bring us blessings and protection. Yeah, for the reading, for myself and for you guys, I mean for all of us, so that obviously the reading can go well and I can deliver as best as I can, right? So yeah, I think let's go ahead and get started. I have already drawn most of the cards. Yeah, if we need, we may get some clarifiers if we need them, but let's get started. We'll start with a theme for you Aquarius for December. The theme does say break the chain, and it is about, so the card says ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. So the theme, guys, for you Aquarius is about breaking free from any patterns from the past, right? And especially ancestral patterns. So you are being, well, you probably will go through a process, and many of you have gone through the process for some maybe months or years of perhaps trying and freeing yourself from your ancestral line, right? So either, for example, either from your mother or your maternal or paternal lines. Yeah, I think by looking at the other cards, I do have tarot cards here as well. In the month of December, there may be a situation or a circumstance, there may be something that comes up, which obviously will probably illuminate or bring something to the surface. Yeah, like a pattern, something that you have probably, it feels like you've known this in the past already, you have seen it in the past, but it will come back up again, so that you can do your inner work, let's say your healing work, and continue to break free, right? So I don't think that, so this is to remember that the breaking the chain, breaking free from ancestral patterns, it does take time, sometimes a very long time, sometimes even many years. So it's a process, right? So just really, I don't think so. This doesn't mean that there's an end in December. I don't think so, but it's just to show you, and I will talk in a moment about the cards, what can come up. Yeah, and you will be obviously, and you're being advised to just pay attention to do your inner work, your healing work, and also your spiritual practice, so that you can continue to break free, right? And to continue to change yourself and to transform yourself, so that you can move on and then perhaps have a better life and have better, for example, relationships in your life. Yeah, I would say there's a lot of masculine energy here, and because I've got two kings and some other cards which also represent a man, so I would straight away, so probably this is an issue in a relationship. It can also be a behavioral, it comes like as a behavioral aspect, so probably a behavioral aspect in your family line, and it would relate to a man. This is the way how I'm feeling. There's really lots of masculine, so I don't think there is any there's no mistake here, right? So perhaps looking at your father line, right? But also it can be people from your mother line. So, but there's a masculinity, it comes as a behavioral pattern, but this obviously then would manifest. And many of you, I believe that many of you, because it's a process and it feels like you would have already spotted that pattern in the past, right? So many of you may be already on a journey, right? And maybe many of you have already been, let's say, trying to break free from that. Yeah, just coming back to my thought process, sorry about the man. Yeah, so it's basically anything that comes, yeah, so it was a pattern in your family potentially, and then it obviously would then manifest in your relationships, in the in the current circumstances, and obviously the past circumstances, right? I would suggest that it can relate to a romantic love relationship, but it comes strongly that it can also relate to a boss, like a boss manager. So obviously you working for someone, right? And then this person would have, let's say, represented a pattern from, let's say, from your father line, for example, from the past, right? Let me start, I'm just thinking, let me start with a past position while, sorry guys, actually I will start with the present, right? But I feel like they're both very related. Actually, in the present moment, you do have, okay, let me just show you first this card, 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel, which is a lot about communication and speaking the truth and speaking your truth. But in terms of like perhaps the energy in the present moment, and this is also the center of the reading, it's Ace of Fire. And this would suggest that there is, it kind of like, it feels like there's a new beginning with regards to like your process of breaking free from ancestral patterns. So something may come to a head, right? So something may come up, and you will be able, hopefully with the right practice, right, and with what you already know about yourself, to perhaps come up with a new solution and maybe break free to a bigger extent, right? So maybe so it does. So I think that whatever comes up in December, let's say, it will give you an opportunity. These cards, aces, very often also represent potentialities. So there's a potential for the future. I don't think that, as I said, I don't think that the process will not finish in December. At least not what the cards show me. Especially that with in the future position, you actually have 8 of Air, and 8 of Air does talk about being trapped a little bit and being stuck maybe, but it also tells me that many of you have been probably working on this. So 8 of Air, this has been going on for probably quite a long time, or many of you have been working on perhaps trying to break free from a pattern also for some while, right? Maybe for some of you, maybe for months if you are new to it, but for many of you it could be years as well, right? So let's just, so this is obviously the center of your reading and the present situation, offering you like a new kind of an aspect of a new beginning, right? An aspect maybe of a new way of breaking free from it. And you will know what it is, and this is with Archangel Gabriel with the 5th chakra, and the 5th chakra is your throat chakra. So it would then relate to, as I said, to communication, so conversations, but also to speaking your own truth. And I think this comes actually up a little bit more strongly, that just to speak, anyway, speaking your own truth. So speaking whatever it is that you want to say will be also part of this theme and part of the situation for December. So now we are looking, obviously, going back to the past position. You've got King of Water, and you also have actually the Thinking Man. So as I said already, these are both masculine energies, right? So for both, so if this is for men, like for both of you, like for women, for female and male watching, like I would suggest, the way I would read this month's energy is definitely about the masculine and the potentially some aspect of a father line or a male, let's say, pattern, right? So someone behavior of a male in your family line, and then being this way, and this being, let's say, represented by your boss, manager, or perhaps a romantic partner. But if it would be for a man, then you need to just please try to apply it, because it may also, so for a man, perhaps obviously a woman would be your romantic partner, but maybe it is also maybe you have developed, so it may be also about you and the behavior patterns that you have developed as part of being obviously in the family, right? And you probably need to also work on a little bit of self-development, right? And on progression. So I would suggest that if men are watching this, that is probably a message for you, just to that you need to kind of take care of this within yourself as well, right? And the same probably for women. We all grow up being surrounded by people, by our parents, grandparents, who didn't have the awareness that we have at the moment, right? So just to offer some compassion. And the Thinking Man, so obviously the King of Water could have been, in the way it came up, as a behavioral pattern. It could have been an aspect of abuse in relationships, perhaps, bearing in mind, it depends how old you are, guys, but in the past, right, and many years ago, people didn't have perhaps such awareness like we have at the moment. It could be an emotional abuse, so people who kind of manipulate kind of emotionally, but this does mean that obviously they don't know how to process their own emotion, right? And they can project anger on you, they can project anything else. Hatred comes up strongly, but then hatred, maybe, I don't know, because it's possible that you may have developed hatred, for example, towards men for some reason, again, because you've been mistreated in the past, right? So the past position, and I think the whole issue does relate to a male, to a man, obviously. And King of Water, it's an aspect of either emotional abuse or obviously emotional manipulations, right? But it does actually also come up with the thinking man. So it's kind of like there is two different qualities. The thinking man is actually a man. Well, to be honest, on one hand, the positive aspect of that, this is a man who is, well, obviously he thinks a lot, right, about the stuff, so it doesn't come up maybe a lot from the heart. But someone who is perhaps, so it does come like as someone who may have been thoughtful of you as well. So let me use an example of a father. Like if this was your father, right? Like this card tells me that they may have been, they didn't want, like, that's why I said, remember, they didn't want to do it this way, right? So remember that people did not have this awareness and a lot of knowledge that we have maybe at the moment, or at least for people who have come on a, let's say, spiritual path and path of healing, right, and therapy work and transformation. This is when we become much more aware, and very often we serve, let's say, not as a trigger but as the light to break free from the pattern, and then let's say, like, help the family to break free, right, even if it's unconscious. Would that make sense? Sorry guys, my throat is a little bit dry, so it's probably just a reminder that also communication and speaking your truth, right? So coming back, so this might be, again, probably someone who cared about you, but they just didn't, they didn't know how to deal with their emotions, right? And obviously their logical thinking, or the way they projected, maybe the way they communicated things to you, were not, perhaps they were not necessarily the right way, I would say, or they were maybe not always very nice, right? Yeah, but it was, I would say, it was what it was. Now you can only deal with this. What you challenge, before I show you, so obviously your future card is actually you, 8 of Air. It is a bit of like a card of entrapment, or feeling a little bit like restricted, or feeling stuck sometimes in a situation, right? And not being able to find a way out sometimes. But the challenge, so, but just to show you also, but well, I'll be talking in a moment about the future. The challenge here is 3 of Air. And the 3 of Air is about, so this is like the heartbreak card, like the heart, the sorrow, the sadness. So I do feel like it could be trauma, so any but it could be also like a trauma from like your generational trauma, right? So from maybe many, I don't know, from your mother line, but from, let's say, some other generations coming up, but you would have carried that, right? So something that I would say that something may come up that hurts you, right? Or that kind of makes you feel, sad, for example. It's the card, maybe it's a bit of a loss as well. It can happen. I would say it does come up as a bit as a strong, like as a painful thing, right? But you guys will know what it is, right? And I'm feeling that obviously many of you, I mean, for those who haven't probably had done so many, let's say, ancestral healing, then there will be definitely, I would advise you to obviously just to take care of yourself, and then just to find therapy methods. But I don't think that this is the message. Let me just deliver the message first. So this is obviously 3 of Air is about heartbreak and sorrow. So something may come up again that isn't very pleasant. And obviously you will, this is part of obviously this relationship, the behavioral pattern, a trauma coming up from the past. So it could be a past wounds or past wounding that comes up again, obviously for healing. So to be healed, to be transformed, and also to be released, right? And so that you can move on a little bit in a fresher way. It doesn't mean that it's going to end straight away, but yes. Let me, so in a moment, okay, let me just take, this is the card for the future. And sorry guys, I just need to take a sip of water with my throat. So this is 8 of, and this is the future position. And this, obviously, this energy will be probably present towards the end of December, and maybe a little bit in let's say January, or it talks about maybe the future months sometimes. So it's telling me, it is telling me that you are still a little bit trapped, right? So this also 8 of very, very often talks about our limitations, our limiting beliefs, our limiting patterns, and very often it's quite a long process, as I said, to free yourself properly and fully from it. So obviously you're going, so obviously the issue that comes up in December is not going to sort out everything, or it's not going to resolve everything, but it does. But with your Ace of Fire in the present position, it hopefully, maybe it will offer you a new way of dealing with this, or a new way, actually it comes a new way of, for example, looking at this, and then with a new, looking at this, and maybe you'll be able to approach it in a new way. But anyway, coming back, so obviously you will still feel a little bit constrained. You may even feel stuck a little bit. And then we've got King of Air, so this is another king. with this card, right? So obviously, so as I already been talking about, that someone um, diplomatic, professional, an issue, I think, with your boss, manager, issue with your father, issue with a romantic partner. It doesn't come up. I don't feel like someone may be trying to um, I don't feel like it's a positive card, unfortunately, but it's probably the same person. They may, while, so you may be feeling perhaps stuck, or maybe you're trying to maybe you will be trying to work out how to move on or move out of the situation, but this person may also, like, it feels like it may be a challenge for you, or they may be, so it's also communication, and maybe the words or the way they speak with you that they are using, they like, it may cause you to feel trapped again, right? Trapped, sorry. Yeah, which means that, well, again, if they were the thinking, if they were obviously caring about you, and they probably would have done in the past, and it may be a challenge because they may be expressing something that is perhaps truthful, but then you may feel trapped, but then you may feel, for example, trapped by this because you will already have, let's say, but you may have negative emotions about it, and then you will not know perhaps how to, yeah, how to work in the situation, right? So anyway, the message is mainly here that just continue, obviously, with date of birth. It's not an, I would say it's not it is not an easy way out, but continue, right, working on it, and there's definitely an opportunity to heal something and to release something, and hopefully maybe to approach this man, or to speak with them, maybe in a little bit of a more positive, like in a positive way. It actually does. Oh, sorry, it just but it comes also with the, so coming back maybe to the King of Verders, we also have a clarifier card, man holding the heart, man holding, yeah, but it came up in reverse. So just a confirmation that it could also be a romantic partner. I'm actually really sorry, guys, because I do feel that there may be like difficult emotions, that there's a lot of sorrow, I think, and sadness, or at least sorrow coming through me, the way I feel. So again, a love relationship, right, which maybe had broken up, maybe, well, I don't, it does, nothing indicates that it will be a breakup, but maybe you guys already have been having problems. And obviously coming back to that King of Air, and something that is coming up towards maybe the end of December, that's all I would say. Or if it's a father again, so someone who perhaps maybe loved you in the past, but they didn't behave, maybe they didn't speak to you in the right way, maybe they didn't treat you right. So all these, yeah, so I would say all these messages, is just, this is just a short reading for the month of December. But I would also suggest that take time, like, even to look at this from a, like, the man holding a heart, like, whatever you can do, only, even if you feel really trapped, you can make sure that you take care of yourself and you come back to your own heart, right, to also understand if you, for example, truly love this person, right, and things like that. In terms of actually your environment, in the environment, actually, you do have fairly positive, there is a strength card, and this is a very that's actually a fairly positive card, and it does seem like that maybe there are other people in your environment, right? Or whatever that means for you. Maybe there'll be home somewhere where you can find either, maybe they will, not that you can find the inner strength, right? But also someone maybe will provide this kind of like the strength for you, right? So maybe someone will be like a support towards you, and they may help you. I don't know, maybe they'll give you a hug, right? Or they'll give you, anyway, someone who definitely can provide a lot of support for you, emotional support, or any other support if you need. Or someone who can simply rely on, right, or lean on a little bit, maybe have a conversations with them. So the strength, it does seem like somewhere in the environment, maybe people who are surrounding you, maybe a therapist that you've been working with, right, they'll be able to help you a little bit to find your strength as well, right? So but it's a positive message. So again, in the somewhere in your environment there are positive people and there are positivity, so you can kind of rely on them and hang on to them a bit as well. So not everything is so negative. As an outcome card, though, I don't know, that really there has been many. I think there was one sign as well that had like two kings. Maybe it was even Virgo. I don't remember, but also came a lot with the masculine energy. The outcome card is actually King of Fire. And the message is probably just like, if for you, like, it's like, be careful how you act and what you act upon, right? So maybe don't act too quickly, because King of Fire can be too quick sometimes in action without thinking. Or again, if this represents this man, for example, so perhaps like he's a thinking man, right? Or he's the King of Air. Yeah, so they very often, maybe they think a lot, but then, and they maybe act too quickly, right? They may be very impulsive, but they don't then realize, for example, that their words may be very hurtful, or their actions also weren't right for you, and things like that. So I think the outcome card, I'm just trying to feel into it. yeah, it's a representation of this, of an aspect of this man. um yeah, perhaps someone else. I would say it's just enough, but outcome to me, okay, just to explain to you guys, to me, outcome is, it doesn't tell me necessarily so you that you will come out. It just says, it kind of gives me more information about actually the whole reading, and it unlocks the reading. So I would say that it is also about a man, and perhaps about behavioral patterns and someone who you are going to deal with, right? King of Fire is also like perhaps the action taker, right? Yeah, and that's why the message came also, be careful guys how you act and what you act upon, how you, and then also be careful of, like, if other people act maybe in a negative way or in a way that hurts you, then also try to, you know, remember that they are the thinking man, and remember that they may be hurting you because they just don't know themselves very well, right? I think this is the main message. One, there's also, I have also a card from a monology deck, which is mainly as a as advice, and this says, trust all will be well. And new moon in Virgo. Virgo sometimes comes up, I don't know, for some readings, so you may want to listen to maybe Virgo's message, perhaps by the new moon, by the next new moon in, okay, someone started either by, let me see, no, it's probably someone may have actually started in the previous, so we've obviously had we've had a new moon in Virgo in probably late August this time around, but September would have been the time of Virgo. So maybe something started, or maybe this issue already started also in September with a man, with a boss, with a partner. But the main message is telling you, trust all will be well, right? So, but this is for the soul, trust that things are going to progress, and keep the faith also. And I would also suggest always make sure, like, if you guys, maybe some of you connect already, right, with spirit, with the angels, just connect with it and keep the faith, right? Remember, darling, remember that there is, yeah, that there's also a bigger picture. I would say maybe remember that there is a bigger picture to everything, and things sometimes have to evolve the way they do, and we don't always have control, especially not over other people, right? But continue to have faith, right? That all will be well. And I'm going to pull one more card for you guys, Aquarius. Aquarius December from the angel deck. Aquarius for December. Yeah, for December. So yeah, I was thinking about healing for December, right? For 2022. Healing energy. So this does confirm. So coming back actually to your challenge. So your challenge card is also, that's what I actually wanted to say also through the whole of the reading. Make sure, guys, so if anything hurtful comes up, make sure that you take care of yourself, because this card is also talking about the healing, right? The healing that you need to undertake in order to release yourself, right? And to transform also, for example, your emotions. And this is just, I feel like the angels are now confirming healing energy, that obviously you are being advised, or you will need to find or continue with your healing and using your healing methods in order obviously to feel better, to uplift your emotions and yourself, to deal with the situation better, and to keep moving on, right? And to keep releasing the patterns, right? And I think, yeah, that's just like, obviously there is sorry, the angel has like the beautiful, yeah, these are the wings of, like, with green, and green is a lot about healing of your heart, basically. Yeah, so I think just to wrap up the reading, it's just a confirmation, and this is what I wanted to say through the reading. If anything comes up, continue with your inner work, continue with your healing practices, or maybe seek guidance from a therapist. Look for a therapist, for like energy healers, Reiki healers, for example, or any other therapist, just in order to help you. But also make sure that you obviously heal yourself. So the message is actually also about you, and to know that you also have a healing power inside of you, right? So any practice that you do, you have the power, and you have the healing power inside of you, and you can heal perhaps in a way on your own, and move on, right? All right, I think this is it. I have that's all I have for you, my dear Aquarius. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I hope you find it useful. Share it, yeah, please do share it with your friends, and hit the like button and subscribe. I will very much appreciate it. Also wishing you a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful and a great holiday season, or anything else if it's not Christmas that you celebrate. Yeah, and I hope to see you on my future videos. Take care of yourselves. I'm sending you much love. Bye.